Now, I imagine this is a topic I bet a few of you have been wondering about what I thought of it. This caught me right away when I first heard of it. Mattel has released, in collaboration with the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, or ADSAN, the first ever Barbie doll on the autism spectrum. So I bet you're wondering, what does an autistic Vtuber like myself, who has done quite a bit of research into neurodivergence, have to say about this? Well, let's just get into it. Now, I know quite a lot of people have been extremely mixed on this product. Many label it as unfortunate stereotyping, others are just leaving it as simply brownie points. Like the people who made this product are saying, "Oh my god guys, look, we made something for a group of people with disabilities, look how thoughtful we are." While they're saying that they actually don't give a crap about people with neurodivergence. While on the other side of the coin, I've heard quite a lot of people praise the doll, calling it a good step forward in representation and awareness. So where do I fall in this? Tough to say. On one hand, I love representation myself. It's one of the biggest things I'll say when people ask me, what's one thing you could do differently in schools or in the workplace when it comes to autism and neurodivergence? My answer is always, we need more people who are educated in neurodivergence there to help support those with additional needs. A lot of my own personal struggles in schooling could have easily been prevented had somebody at my school been more educated in neurodivergence. But no, I was left to fend for myself while my amazing mother did everything that she could to help me. However, I can also see where the other side of the coin comes in. Many people label this as unfortunate stereotyping, brownie points, or just exploiting the autistic community for money. I can kinda see where they're coming from. Now let's have a look at the doll in question. As you can see, she is wearing noise-cancelling headphones, and she has a couple of accessories, like a tablet or a fidget spinner. And a subtle but nice detail is that one of her eyes are looking slightly off to the side. One could argue this may make her look stereotypically dumb or something like that. But it's a really real thing that autistic people hate eye contact. I would know, because I used to hate eye contact as well. These are things I've personally seen and witnessed in my day-to-day life. It is true, a good amount of autistic people rely on things such as fidget toys or noise-cancelling headphones in order to help cope in stressful situations. It really does help them with dealing with difficult scenarios. But I can also see where they're coming from. But at the same time, how can you really accurately portray autism for every autistic person without falling into stereotypes? The correct answer is you can't. Autism is a spectrum condition, meaning it's extremely varied. I myself don't need things like noise-cancelling headphones or the sort, but some of my old college friends that I was with absolutely needed them, and they couldn't even attend class without having them nearby, just in case something like the fire alarm went off, or maybe some other students got a bit too loud for their liking. Now personally, I don't think Mattel were doing this from a malicious or kind of uncaring way. I genuinely think they were trying here. Let's break down why. Autism in women is an extremely underrepresented problem. The diagnosis rates are noticeably lower when comparing to male diagnosis. It's about a 3-to-1 ratio. Luckily though, it appears to be on the rise. But why are the diagnosis rates so low in the first place, you may wonder? Well, it's hard to pinpoint the exact reason as to why this happens. We do have some good estimations though. One of the biggest factors is that autistic diagnoses and research for the longest time was based on men and not on women. That's only beginning to shift in the more recent years. Another factor is masking. This is a term you may have heard before. It's where you hide aspects about yourself or your differences in order to fit in with people or to appear more normal, quote unquote. Women and girls are more likely to do this than men and boys, so this makes the autism diagnosis more obvious in men and boys than with women and girls. Autism assessments are less sensitive to the autistic traits found in women and girls, and there have even been suggestions that biological and environmental factors could have also led to more men and boys being diagnosed than women. Now this is all according to autism.org, which I'll leave a link to down below. But what does this have to do with a toy doll made by Mattel? Well, I believe showing autism in women in any aspect, so long as it's a positive, is a good thing. I think it's good that people are beginning to realise that this is a serious problem for women, and it should have more attention to it. Plus, You have to give props to Mattel for actually partnering with a good autism group, unlike a certain other one which we won't name. All in all, I really do get what both sides of this argument are saying. Personally, I'd have a problem if those noise-cancelling headphones the doll were wearing weren't removable. I believe they are, but if they aren't, then that is a negative that I will give. I think the best way to make this doll work, or any future toys for autistic representation, is options. Have accessories like the fidget toys or the noise-cancelling headphones, but have the choice to remove them or keep them on. Give the person the choice of how to customize it to their own liking and how they feel. I think that's a sensible compromise that quite a few people might agree with. It's a small step towards representation. Look, I know deep down we're all realists. A lot of kids don't really think this deeply when it comes to toys, and to be honest, a good number of adults don't either. But I think this doll will mainly be bought by parents who seek them out. So I think in this instance, it definitely does its job well enough. So I think in this instance, it definitely does its job well. Overall, I think this was a well-meant attempt at representation. While it may seem small and insignificant to most, or may solely rely on stereotypes you may not agree with or may not feel like it represents yourself, I do know that this will make a good amount of people feel happy and feel like they have something they can relate to. And in the end, I think that's what matters. So those are my final thoughts on the Autistic Barbie. What did you guys think? Be sure to let me know in the comments section if you're autistic or if you have your own thoughts on what you think about this Autistic Barbie. I'm very interested to see the opinions of you guys, because I know quite a lot of people who are autistic or people who know about neurodivergence will have a lot to say when it comes to this topic. But for now, I'm Dark the Damned. I'll see you guys later. Take care, my disciples.